The extra session which we are having. So thank all of you for coming today. So today we'll be discussing on 15th chapter. Okay. Is my voice loud and clear?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. So I will start with prayers. We'll have some quick revision of 14th chapter and then start with the 15th chapter. ओम ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। So the 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita is called as Purushottama Yoga. So this is a very important chapter, very small chapter, only 20 shlokas, but it's quite important, and a lot of details about material world and spiritual world are given in this chapter. And generally in Purushottam Mas, Adhik Mas, they recite this chapter every day. Here also in our temple, we are reciting this chapter every day and trying to meditate on the meaning of this chapter. So it's very vital. So I'll just give you an overview of this chapter before we go ahead. Yeah. So just quickly to revise what we learned in the previous chapter is this. So last 14 chapter was entitled The Three Modes of Material Nature. We had a discussion on three modes, Sattva-guna, Rajoguna, Tamoguna. So the first few shlokas talked about mode, Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. So these modes bind the living entity in this material world, and they make us like a puppet. So we become like puppets in the hands of three modes. When we desire to enjoy separately from the Lord, then we come under the trap of these three modes. So the second point was the race for prominence. When sometimes there is a competition between Sattva-guna, Rajoguna and Tamoguna. Sometimes Sattva-guna becomes powerful, sometimes Tamoguna becomes powerful, sometimes Rajoguna becomes more powerful. So depending upon whatever the mode is prominent at that time, a person exhibits a particular kind of character. A person in the mode of goodness generally is happy and in knowledge. A person in the mode of passion, he is hankering for wealth and prestige and name and fame. So that is passion, Sangha and Trishna. And person in the mode of ignorance is lazy, Nidra Alasya Pramada. Sometimes he is lazy, sometimes he is sleeping, and he is mad. So these are the qualities which you can see in particular modes. Then action in the modes, how a person acts, and what are the destinations. Urdhvam gachanti sattvastha, madhye tishtanti rajasa, jagannaguna adho gachanti tamasa. So what are the destinations of three kinds of people? That also we saw last time. And pure life. How to become pure? By practicing devotional service. We become purified of all the three contamination of the modes, and we ascend to the spiritual world. So, and at the last shloka, Krishna said that I am the foundation of Brahmajyoti. Brahmajyoti rests on me. And the souls, the pure souls are also dependent on Krishna. So Brahmajyoti is dependent on Krishna, and the pure souls are also dependent on Krishna. So with that, Krishna ended this chapter. So any one of you could memorize any verse from this chapter? If yes, any one of you would like to share? Anyone of you would like to recite any shloka from this chapter? 14th chapter. Hare Krishna. So all of you are wondering. Okay, let's recite some of the verses here. What I'll do is I'll open the shloka which I had sent you. How many of you received the shlokas for this chapter? You saw that? You received the verses? I had sent a PPT. Okay, so we'll try to recite together. Yeah, so this is a shloka, chapter 14. So all of you can try to recite together with me. Sir, you will recite all the 4 shlokas, 4 or 5 shlokas in this chapter. सर्वयोनिषु कौन्तेय मूर्तय सम्भवन्ति याः तासां ब्रह्ममहद्योनिरहं बीजप्रदः पिता ऊर्ध्वं गच्छन्ति सत्त्वस्था मध्ये तिष्ठन्ति राजसाः जघन्यगुणवृत्तिस्था अधो गच्छन्ति तामसाः सत्त्वं सुखे सञ्जयति रजः कर्मणि भारत ज्ञानम् आवृत्य तु तमः प्रमादे सञ्जयत्युत मां च यो व्यभिचारेण भक्तियोगेन सेवते सगुणान् समतीतैतान् ब्रह्मभूयाय कल्पते. So this is very important verse because this tells us how to cross over the modes. When you surrender to Krishna, you become free from the modes. The last one. Brahmano hi pratishthaham amritasya vyayasya cha शाश्वतस्य च धर्मस्य सुखस्यैकान्तिकस्य च. So these are the 5 verses from this chapter, very small chapter, but especially the 14.27, that's very important. If you are not recited, then you can recite at least that one verse. Okay. So now we'll start with the chapter 15, Purushottama Yoga. So we'll try to see important points from this chapter. Okay. So this is called Yoga of the Supreme Person. Supreme Person means Purushottama. Okay. So the ultimate purpose of Vedic knowledge is to detach oneself from the entanglement of material world and to understand Lord Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One who understands Krishna's supreme identity surrenders unto him and engages in his devotional service. So Krishna is going to tell more about himself, and at the end of this chapter, he will tell that one who knows me properly, he will surrender to me. Sa sarvavid bhajatimam sarva bhavena bharata. So he tells it at the end of this chapter. So what we'll do now, I'll recite this verse. I want somebody from the call who can recite after me and read the translations. Who would like to volunteer today? Okay, Shivan is raising hand, but I think you read recently, right? Okay, Vaishali Mataji wants to read. Okay. Shivani, I think just last week or last to last week you got a chance. Will you chance to others also?
Yes, Prabhuji. Okay.
Okay. So we'll recite this verse. So Vaishali Mataji can recite. Shri Bhagavan Vacha. I think you have to unmute your mic. ऊर्ध्वमूलमदशाखम्
ऊर्ध्वमूलं मधशाखम्
अश्वत्थं प्राहुरव्ययम्
अश्वत्थं विभुरव्ययम्
छन्दांसि यस्य पर्णानि
छन्दांसि यस्य पर्णानि
यस्तं वेद स वेदवित्.
यस्तं वेद स वेदवित्.
Kindly read this.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, it is said that there is an
Imperishable.
there is an imperishable banyan tree that has its roots upward and its branches down, and whose leaves are the Vedic hymns. One who knows this tree is the knower of the Vedas.
Okay. So, have you seen such a tree which is upside down?
In the pond, we can see the image of the tree, but we cannot see the roots. We can just see the trunk and the branches upside down inside the image.
Yes. So this person is wondering, no, where is this upside down tree? So actually, such a tree does not exist. So as Vaishali Mataji rightly mentioned, we can see this tree only in the reflection, like this lake is there. So all these trees are getting reflected below. So like this you see. So there are trees and the reflection you can see in the river. So the reflection has the roots upwards and the branches downwards. So the real world is the spiritual world and the reflection is like the material world. So material world is perverted reflection of the spiritual world. So like no mango in the tree, you can pluck the mango from the tree and you can eat it. But the reflection of the mango in the water, we cannot catch it, right? So it is difficult to catch it. So that is the meaning of spiritual world is real and material world is a reflection. So here the material world is considered to be a reflection of the spiritual world. So that's what Krishna is telling here. Just like there is real tiles and there is fake, yeah, real marble and fake marble, right, which you can remove from a chaku. Like there is a real note and there is a fake note. If you see under the lens, you can find out it is fake. And there is real fruits and juice, and but there is fake mango. Looks like mango, but there is no taste. It is a plastic mango. And real beauty is Krishna's beauty, soul's beauty, and the material beauty is fake beauty. It's ugly. So this is the nature of this world. So material world is a reflection of the spiritual world. So just like see this photograph, right? You will see that middle there is peace, above there is spiritual bliss, and below there is suffering. So we are right now in this material world suffering at the bottommost part. And above that is Brahma Jyoti, which is Shanti, 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 which is peace. And above that is spiritual bliss, which is the spiritual world, Vaikuntha Loka. So this photograph I'll explain in detail very soon. So after we, yeah, material beauty is only skin deep, right? But spiritual beauty is real beauty because material beauty turns ugly over a period of time. Wrinkles will be on the face, the hairs become white, there is no glare in the eyes, so everything goes away with time. So material beauty is only skin deep and temporary. So that's what Krishna is telling here in this verse, that urdham moolam adashakam. There is a tree with the root upwards and branches downwards. And what is the meaning of root upwards? It means it has its origin in the spiritual world. So the roots are upwards, means it starts from Satyaloka. Brahmaji is sitting at the top. So from Brahmaji, all this comes down, and then it is, Ashwatham. This is a Ashwatha tree. Ashwatha tree is considered to be the very strongest tree and very fat tree, very strong, and the roots go up and down. So here, this upside down tree is a banyan tree, which is difficult to cut. It is a very strong tree. And Chandamsi Yasya Paranani, the leaves are the Vedic sounds. And Vedas contain many, many instructions of dharma, artha, kama, moksha. So that's why you'll see in this photograph. Um, I'll try to open a better photo so that all of you can see clearly. So, yes. Yeah. Yeah, you'll see in this photograph. On the top there is spiritual world, middle there is desire. And what is the desire? Desire to enjoy separately from Krishna. When we get the desire to enjoy separately from Krishna, we come to this material world. And in the material world, you'll see on the top branches, there are many devatas. You can see Brahmaji, then you can see Surya, and you can see Ganesha, and there are some, I think Saraswati and other devatas are there. And below that, there is Indra. Below Brahmaji, there is Indra on Airavata. Then you'll find many Gandharvas, Vidyadharas, and all the singers, celestial people. So the Vedic hymns are considered to be the leaves. So you will say economic development, dharma. So it is artha. Artha means economic development. Religiosity is dharma. Sense gratification is kama. So dharma, artha, kama. And on top you will see liberation, yellow color one. Right? I'll highlight it. So here is liberation, moksha. And here is dharma, is artha. Here is kama. So dharma means a person is trying to follow the Vedic hymns to elevate in his spiritual life. That is religiosity. Economic development means he wants karma phala, he wants enjoyment. So that is economic development. Sense gratification is kama, means lust. He wants to enjoy the sense objects. So that's called kama. So these three things, these four things are mentioned in the Vedic literatures. So that's why they compare to the leaves. And you will see that there are some branches going up and down. So what are those branches going up and down? We'll see now in the next shloka. Yeah, kindly recite after me. अधश्चोर्ध्वं प्रसृतास्तस्य शाखा गुणप्रवृद्धा विषयप्रवालाः अधश्च मूलानि अनुसन्ततानि कर्मानुबन्धीनि मनुष्यलोके Yeah. So please recite this.
The branches of this tree extended downward and upward, nourished by the three modes of material nature. The twigs are the objects of the senses. This tree also has roots going down, and these are bound to the fruitive actions of human society.
So this has roots up and down. Adhascha urdhvam, from down to up. Prasithas tasya shakha. So the roots are, the branches are going from bottom to top. Guna pravardha vishaya pravala. And it is nourished by gunas, three gunas. The tree is nourished by satuguna, rajaguna and tamaguna. It's like the water for the tree. And vishaya pravala, the sense objects are the twigs of the tree. Adhascha mulani anusantatani. And the roots are also coming from top to bottom. It's interesting, huh? So the branches are going from bottom to top and roots are also coming from top to bottom. Karma anubandhini manushaloke. And in this way, the activities, the roots, they bind the person to the material world. Karmanu bandhini. Bandhan means bondage. Manushaloke. So they are bound to the material world. So that's the meaning of this. So I'll explain that here through this. See here in this photograph you will see. So there are some branches going from top to bottom. You'll see this coming from top to bottom. They're like branches, right? And there's some roots also coming. You see there's some roots coming down. And some are going up also. Some branches like this one is going up from bottom to up. So in the banyan tree, you will see that branches go up also and then roots come down also. So that is the specialty of this tree. So those branches are nothing but desires. Right? Like somebody at this, for here, he is doing some activity, like he is murdering here. He is doing some yajna here. He is doing some business here. No? So he is Brahmana, he is Vaishya, and he is hunting here, no? Like his animals. He is doing some activities. So the activities of the living entities, they generate karma. and according to that karma, they can go up or they can go down. So that's the meaning. It's just like a snake and a ladder game. When you're playing the snake and ladder, sometimes you go up, but you are bitten by a snake, and again you come down to the tail of the snake. You climb the ladder, but again you get bitten by a snake, you come down. Similarly, in this world also, some people are going to higher planets, and some are going to lower planets or lower species of life. In this way, going up and down is continuing in this material world. So that's the meaning of adhaschordhvam prasitas tasya shaka guna pravruddha vishaya pravala. Yeah, so the sense objects are like the twigs, and the twigs are attached to the fruits, which are like the senses. So the senses want to enjoy the sense objects, and by enjoying the sense objects, the person gets bound to this material world. So that's explained in this purport actually. So Prabhupada says here. So Prabhupada says the tree is nourished by the three modes. Yeah. The twigs of the tree are considered to be sense objects, like the top tip portions. The twigs are considered sense objects. By development of different modes of nature, we develop different senses. And by the senses, we enjoy different varieties of sense objects. See, whenever the senses come in touch with sense objects, there is sense of pleasure, right? So he wants to enjoy that pleasures. That becomes the cause of his bondage. The tips of the branches are the senses, the ears, nose, eyes, etc. They are attached to the object of sense, of enjoyment of different sense objects. The twigs are Shabda, Sparsha, Rasa, Rupa, Gandha, sound, form, touch, and so on. Right? So, by the contact of the senses and sense objects, it produces subsidiary roots. The secondary roots are attachments and aversions, which are byproducts of varieties of suffering and sense enjoyment. So, in this way, the person gets bound up in the network of this tree, and it's very difficult to come out. So, the real root is from Brahmaloka, and the other roots are in the human planetary systems. After one enjoys the results of virtuous activities in the upper planetary systems, he comes down to this earth and renews his karma or fruitive activities for promotion. This planet of human beings is considered the field of activities. So the Bhuloka is considered to be the karma kshetra, where you can generate karma. But in other planets, you can only destroy your karma. So that's why Earth is considered to be special. So in the first few shlokas, what we learned is, first two shlokas we learned that the material world is a reflection of the spiritual world. Roots are upwards, branches are downwards. It's a banyan tree. What are the leaves compared to? What are the leaves compared to? Let's have a quick revision.
Vedas.
Vedic hymns, okay. What are the twigs of the tree compared to?
Senses.
Sense objects. Sense objects. And what are the tips of the twigs compared to? Yeah, some of
Eyes,
you already
ears, nose,
it is senses. Yeah, eyes, nose, ears.
senses.
Senses. Correct. So eyes, nose, ears, skin, they are all the senses. And the twigs are compared to the sense objects like sight, sound, touch, form, and smell. So they are the sense objects. And what is the water for this tree? How is this
The
tree
modes
nourished?
of nature.
Modes of nature. Correct. Yes. So Krishna says that Yastam Vedasa Vedavit, one who knows this tree is the real knower. Why? Because once you know that this is the material tree, we can cut it. Right? We don't want to enjoy it. So Krishna says that we should try to know this tree, then you are in true knowledge. So let's go ahead to the next shloka. Yeah, kindly repeat this shloka. Narupamasyeha tatopalabhyate nanto na chadir na cha sampratishtha Your voice is not audible. Maybe you have to keep mic little closer. I think.
Audible now?
It is faint.
Is it?
Yeah. Now we are able to hear a little bit. Yes. Ashwatthamenam suvirudhamulam
Ashwatthamenam suvirudhamulam
asangashastreణ dhridena chitva.
asangashastrena dridena chitva.
So he's telling here, narupam asyeha tatopalabhyate. Nobody can ascertain the form of this tree, rupam, because you don't know where is the head and where is the tail. Like we are staying in one planet, we don't know what is happening in another planet. So we don't know what is happening in another country. So we cannot ascertain the complete form of this tree. Na anto na chadir. It has no beginning and no end. Nacha sampratishtha. We cannot also establish its foundation. Who is this foundation? That we also cannot see. Ashwathamenam suvirudhamulam. Its roots are very strong. It is Ashwatha tree. Ashwatha tree is very difficult to uproot because roots go very deep and very wide. So suvirudhamulam. So that's why you need a very sharp axe. Asanga shastrena dhridena chitva. By taking a very sharp axe, like this fellow is trying to cut this tree. So he needs a very sharp axe. Similarly, we also should need a very sharp axe. What is that? That axe is called as detachment. So asanga means detachment. So with the axe of detachment, we can cut off this tree. That's what Krishna is suggesting here. Kindly repeat. Tata padam tat parimargitavyam.
Tatah padam tat parimargitavyam.
Yasmin gatana nivartanti bhuyaha.
Yasmin gatana nivartanti bhuyaha.
Still your voice is very faint. Maybe you have to check with your sound system, microphone. Tameva chadyam purusham prapadye.
Tameva chadyam purusham prapadye.
Yeah, now it's audible. Yata pravritti prasita purani.
Yatah pravritti prasruta purani.
So after cutting this tree, what we have to do? Tata padam tat parimargitavyam. Margitavyam means going. Parimargitavyam means to go to certain place. Yasmin gata. After going there, na nivartanti. You will not come back here to this material world again. Okay. After going there, you will not come back to this world. So go to such a place. Tameva chadyam purusham prapadya. And there what you should do? Adi Purusha. There is original Purusha there. We should go and surrender to him. Prapadye. Yataha pravrittihi prasada purani. From whom entire material world is created. Yataha pravritti prasada purani. So everything is coming from him. So we'll read this translation written by Srila Prabhupada. Can you please read this?
Yes. The real form of this tree cannot be perceived in this world. No one can understand where it ends, where it begins, or where its foundation is. But with determination, one must cut down this strongly rooted tree with the weapons of detachment. Thereafter, one must seek that place from which, having gone, one never returns, and there surrender to that supreme personality of Godhead from whom everything began and from whom everything has extended since time immemorial.
Yeah, Prasada Purani. From whom everything has come since time immemorial. So that's the real meaning. So basically, Krishna is suggesting here, you go from this material world to the spiritual world. Okay. So in the first two shlokas, Krishna explained this material world. In the third shloka, Krishna said, cut off this tree of material world by detachment. I mean, don't be attached to this tree. Be detached. The detachment itself is a weapon. And in the fourth shloka, Krishna said, go to the spiritual world. Don't stay in this material world, but go to the spiritual world. And in the fifth shloka, Krishna will now tell what is spiritual world looking like. Or fifth verse, he will tell who can go to the spiritual world. So let's see that. Nirmana moha jita sanga dosha. Adhyatma nitya vinivritta kamaha.
Adhyatmanitya vinivritta-kamaha.
Dvandvair vimukta sukha dukkha sangyer.
Vairvimukta sukha-dukkha-sangair.
Gacchantya padamavyayam tat.
Gacchantya-mudha padamavyayam tat.
Yeah. Please read this translation.
Those who are free from false prestige, illusion, and false association, who understand the eternal, who are done with material lust, who are freed from the dualities of happiness and distress, and who bewildered,
Bewildered.
bewildered who unbewildered know how to surrender unto the supreme person attend to that eternal kingdom.
Yeah. So this is a very beautiful shloka. See, nirmana moha. Nirmana. Mana means pride or prestige. Nirmana means one who is not seeking for prestige. Nirmoha, who is freed from illusion. Illusion means what? We think that I am this body. So to think that I am Krishna's servant, that is freedom from illusion. So nirmana, nirmoha, and jita sanga dosha. He has conquered dosha, faults due to association with matter, right? False association, sanga dosha. Like we associate with our body, we associate with people, we associate with material sense objects. So one who has conquered and one is no more attached to this sense objects, he is called Jita Sanga Dosha. Adhyatma Nitya, one is always situated in soul platform, spiritual platform. Veni Vritta Kama, and is done with lust. There is no more lust in his heart. He has only service attitude in his heart. So that is Vinivritta Kama. Dvandve Vimukta. Dvandva means like heat and cold, man and apman, and victory and defeat. These are all dvandvas. He has become freed from dvandvas. Means what? Nodvijet priyam prapya. Right? Na praharshyat priyam prapya, nodvijet prapya cha priyam. If he gets something very pleasing, he'll not get excited. And if he gets something very disturbing, he'll not get disturbed. So that is called Dvandver Vimukta. He is equipoised in all situations. Dvandver Vimukta Sukadukka Sammer, right? Dualities of happiness and distress. Gacchante, he will go. Where he will go? Padam Avyayam, to the spiritual world, which is Param Padam. And such a person is called as Amudha. Mudha means fool. Amudha means intelligent person. So a person who is surrendering to Krishna is very, very intelligent. So here you see this devotee is calling for Radha and Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And Lord Chaitanya has also taught us you should raise your hand and chant Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Why raising your hand? Because it indicates surrender. You will see the photo of Lord Chaitanya. He is also standing like this, calling for Krishna. So in that way, one should call for Radha and Krishna. So then we go back home to spiritual world. So that is the fifth verse where he is telling the qualifications of a person who can go to the spiritual world. So we have to develop these qualities actually. And how do we develop these qualities? By satsanga, by association with devotees, and by practicing sadhana very sincerely. Right? You continue chanting Hare Krishna, continue associating with devotees, hear Krishna Katha, take prasadam. So by that, these qualities will naturally manifest, and then one can go back to spiritual world. Now the question may arise: okay, I want to go to the spiritual world, but what does the spiritual world look like? What is there? So let's see in the next shloka. So kindly repeat this verse, very famous verse. Natad bhasayate suryo
Bhasayate suryo
न शशांको न पावकः
shashanko na pavakaha
यद्गत्वा न निवर्तन्ते
yatgatva na
Tadhama paramam mama. Yeah, kindly repeat, kindly read the translation.
That supreme abode of mine is not illuminated.
Hare Krishna.
It is gone. That supreme abode of mine is not illumined by the sun or moon, nor by fire or electricity. Those who reach it never return to this material world.
Material.
Those who reach it never return to this material world.
Yes. So that is the meaning of last line. Yad gatva na nivartante tadhama paramam mama. Yad gatva. After going there, na nivartante. Like same thing was spoken 2 shlokas before. So once going there, you'll not come back. So this photograph indicates the spiritual world. So there are many Vaikuntha lokas, which are like small bubbles surrounding Goloka, which is like a lotus. And in the lotus, you will find Radha and Krishna, which is Goloka Vrindavana, the ultimate spiritual world. And this is called as Madhurya Dhama. And surrounding planets, which are Vaikuntha planets, they are called as Aishwarya Dhama, where Lord's opulence is manifest. And in this corner, you will see Mahavishnu creating universes. This is called as material world. So once we go from material world to spiritual world, we don't return back to this material world again. And the spiritual world, the characteristics is Natad bhasayate suryo. It does not require a sun. Like now it is getting dark here, right? At almost 5:35, about 6 o'clock, 6:30, it will be dark. Then you have to switch on the lights. But in spiritual world, there is nothing like darkness. Everything is self-illuminated. That is the nature of spiritual world. Chintamani prakara sadmasu kalpa vriksha lakshavriteshu surabhira vipalayantam. Right? Every dust particle in Vrindavan is Chintamani. So, and every particle is self-illuminated. So there's no need of sun and moon there. So that's the spiritual world. So there's a question here. One Anuradha Mata is one cannot come to this material world means he will never come even if many times this world will create and destroy. Yeah. So this material world is created and destroyed repeatedly. Bhutva, bhutva, praliyate. Again, it's created and again destroyed. It's created and again destroyed. But he will not come to this material world because once having gone there, he will not come back here. So that assurance is given by Krishna. So we should try to go there. And the assurance is once you go there, you will not come back to this material world. Correct? So that's the answer to your question. Means what we can come back, but we will not want to come back. Just like if you go to some place which is very, very scary. So if you go there, then you don't want to go again, isn't it? So once having gone there, you will not come back to, you don't want to go again because it is so scary. So that's the meaning of Yadgatva na nivartante tadhama paramam mama. Okay, so that's the meaning of the 6th shloka. So let's go to the next verse, 7th verse. So kindly repeat. Mamaivamsho jivaloke jivabhuta sanatanaha manashasthani indriyani prakritisthani karshati. Yeah, please read this.
The living entities in this conditioned world are my eternal fragmental parts. Due to conditioned life, they are struggling very hard with the 6 senses, which include the mind.
Yeah. So, yes. Mame Vamsho Jivaloke. So, he is telling that Jiva is also mine. Mame Vamsho Jivaloke. Mama Eva Amsha. It means Amsha means a part. Just like you take something and you break it, that becomes a part amsha. So Krishna's amsha is this jiva. So that, see, in the previous verse he said, Tadhama paramam mama. So the word mama is used here. That's my planet. And here he is telling my amsha, mama eva amsha, jiva loki. And it is sanatanaha, it is eternal. So just like Krishna is sanatana, the jiva is also sanatana. Now when jiva is sanatana, why is it suffering? What's the cause of its suffering? The cause of suffering is manashasthani indriyani prakriti sthani. Because it is now in prakriti. It is situated in this material body which is called prakriti. And it has got 6 senses with the mind as a principal sense. And because of these things, it is suffering. Manashasthani indriyani prakriti sthani karshati. In this way, the soul is suffering in this world. So Krishna in the next shlokas will elaborate on how the jiva carrying the senses is struggling in this world. Change of the bodies with different conceptions as air carries aroma, and thus taking another gross body, the jiva enjoys sense objects. Okay. So there is a question coming here from Omkar. What is the purpose of creating jivas? Yeah. Good question. Because we are all jivas. Why did Krishna create us? See, Krishna created us to increase his happiness. Krishna is Atma Rama. In one sense, he is not dependent on anybody. He is self-satisfied. But God being alone, he did not like it. So he wanted, that's why he created so many jivas with whom he can have some exchange of love. So that's why we are called as Mamayavamsha Jivaloki, part and parcel of Krishna. Because we are Krishna's part and parcels, so we are also supposed to serve Krishna, and in service to Krishna we'll be happy. But the moment we forget Krishna or disobey Krishna and try to enjoy by making separate plans of our own, that becomes the cause of bondage. So that's why the Lord is telling here that if you serve me, you'll be happy, and if you forget me, you'll be miserable. And Krishna doesn't force us. What he does, he gives us free will. Although we are parts of Krishna, but still we have the free will. Free will means what? We can choose whether to serve Krishna or to choose serve somebody else. So that free will is given. So that is the commodity of the jiva, like we discussed in the 5th chapter. The jiva's only commodity is desire. It can desire, that's all. It cannot do anything. We cannot even lift a cup of coffee unless Lord sanctions. We can just desire, and if the desire is sanctioned by the Lord, then it is fulfilled. So that's what we have to understand. So we are part and parcel of Krishna. We are meant to give pleasure to Krishna. The Prabhupada gives a very beautiful example. Suppose there is a machine, and in that machine there are many nuts and bolts. So when a nut falls off from that machine, it has no purpose. What is the use of a nut which is fallen here and there? But when you put it back into the machine, then it serves a purpose, right? So it has some value in the machine. Like this keyboard is my laptop is here, keyboard is here. If one key is falling somewhere, what value does it got? Nobody will purchase it. But if that same key has got put in the keyboard here, then it has some value because it can serve some purpose. I can type something. Similarly, Jiva also, when it is in service to the Lord, it has got a purpose. But if it is disconnected from the Lord, then it has lost its purpose. So we have to again reconnect back with Krishna. So that's the answer to your question. Yes. So we'll go ahead to the next verse, which is the 8th verse. Yeah. Because I already explained this misuse of independence and right use of independence. When you misuse independence, we get conditioned. When you rightly use the independence, then you get liberated. Like car driver and car owner. If the car driver thinks this is my car, I will enjoy this the way I want, then what the owner will do? You cannot do that. He'll kick you out of the job, isn't it? So we have to serve the master, then we'll be happy. So in material world, struggle is there for all. But spiritualist, he tries to give up the desires by which are the cause of suffering. So by giving up the desires for suffering, he remains peaceful. So that's the meaning of this. So now how he is struggling in this world will be explained in the next few shlokas. Okay. Just a minute. Yeah, I'm sharing it here. शरीरं यदवाप्नोति, I think you have to unmute and speak.
Noti.
यच्चापुत्रामतीश्वरः गृहीत्वैतानि संयाति वायुर्गन्धानि वाशयात्. Yeah. Please read the translation.
The living entity in the material world carries his different conceptions of life from one body to another, as the air carries aromas. Thus, we take one kind of body and again quits it to take another.
Yeah. So just like when you spray something, the aroma fills the room. But when you spray from your bottle, how the aroma is reaching the other end of the room, you don't know. It's very subtle, very sukshma. In a very subtle way, it is transmitted. Like when you're going in train also, sometimes you get nice cool breeze with nice fragrance. And sometimes you pass by a sugar factory, you get bad smell of fermenting alcohol. So in this way, the wind picks up the fragrance. How it is picking up, we don't know. Similarly, Shrotram Shariram Yadavapnoti Yacha Putramati Ishvara. So when the soul, Ishvara is here referring to soul, he is his body along with the soul, all the other things. Grihite etani samyati. Etani means the previous shloka. Manashasthani indriyani. All the senses and the mind, all of them are taken together to the next destination. Okay. So, and we don't know how he is carrying, a very subtle way, in a very subtle route, he takes it to the other place. And sometimes the toilet smell also comes in there. We don't know how the toilet smell is coming. It's getting transmitted, very subtle way it is transmitted. Similarly, the soul also gets transmigrated. So how exactly it happens is the next shloka, 9th shloka. Shrotram chakshusparshanam cha
Shrotram chakshusparshanam cha
rasanam ghranam cha
rasanam ghranameva cha
adhisthaya manaschayam
adhisthaya manaschayam
vishayanupasevate.
vishayanupasevate. The living entity, thus taking another gross body, obtains a certain type of ear, eye, tongue, nose, and senses of touch, which are grouped about the mind. He thus enjoys a particular set of sense objects.
Shrotra, Chakshu, Sparshanam, Rasanam, Granam. These are the 5 senses. Shrotra means that which we hear, ears. Chakshu means eyes. Sparsha means like skin. Rasana means tongue. Grana means nose. And cha indicates other elements in the body, the 23 elements in the body. And there's another cha. Acharya said this indicates the 5 pranas. Prana, apana, samana, udana, vyana. So these 5 pranas are flowing in the body. So all these things go to the next life. So the 5 pranas, the senses, the soul, mind, intelligence, everything goes to the next body. Only the gross elements, they are destroyed. Pancha Mahabhutas. Earth becomes part of earth, fire becomes part of fire, air becomes part of air, and in ether. In this way, all the material elements are dispersed, but the subtle bodily parts are carried to the next life. That's how our next life is determined by the quality of the subtle body. What kind of quality we have in the subtle body, that determines our next destination. And because of this, because of the difference in subtle body, people are born differently. There's disparity in this world. There's a lot of variety. Somebody is born fair, somebody is born dark, somebody is born as a boy, somebody is born as a girl, right? Somebody is born rich, somebody is born as poor, isn't it? Somebody is born rich, someone is poor, and somebody is so strong, and somebody is so weak. She is writing with the leg here. So in this way, there is disparity. Somebody is beautiful, somebody is ugly, healthy, diseased. Right? So in this way, there is disparity because of the difference in the quality of the consciousness in the subtle body. So that's why, along with having a strong, healthy body, physical body, we should also have a strong and clean subtle body. So subtle body is more important than the gross body. Generally, people give more importance to gross body. If they get disease, they'll go and get cured. They will do exercise, we will eat, and we will do so many things. But more important than gross body is what kind of subtle body I'm having, what kind of consciousness I'm cultivating. Because according to the quality of my consciousness, my next birth is getting decided. Right? Like somebody is attached to a dog, then he may become a dog in next life. Somebody is attached to, somebody is cultivating desires like a tiger, then he may become a tiger in the next life. So that is more important. So let's go to the next verse. So the connection is that those who are in knowledge can only perceive the soul, others cannot. Utkramantam sthitam vapi
Utkramantam sthitam vapi
bhunjanam va gunanvitam
janam va gunanvitam
vimodhananupashyanti
vimudhananupashyanti
पश्यन्ते ज्ञानचक्षुषः.
पश्यन्ति ज्ञानचक्षुषः.
Yeah.
The foolish cannot understand how a living entity can quit his body, nor can they understand what sort of body he enjoys under the spell of the modes of nature. But one whose eyes are trained in knowledge can see all this.
Yeah. So utkramantam sthitam vapi. So while the living entity is staying in the body or he has quit the body, we cannot perceive it. Why? Vimodha. Those who don't have spiritual knowledge cannot see this. But those who have spiritual knowledge, jnana chakshusha, those who have spiritual knowledge, they can only see this transmigration happening. It's same theme is told in the next shloka also. Let's read this one also, then we'll discuss something. Yatanto yoginaschainam
यतन्तो योगिनश्चैनं
पश्यन्त्यात्मनि अवस्थितम्
पश्यन्त्यात्मन्य अवस्थितम्
यतन्तोऽप्यकृतात्मानो
यतन्तोऽप्यकृतात्मानो
नैनं पश्यन्त्यचेतसः.
नैनं पश्यन्त्यचेतसः.
Yeah,
The
please read.
endeavoring transcendentalists who are situated in self-realization can see all this clearly, but those whose minds are not developed and who are not situated in self-realization cannot see what is taking place, though they may try to.
Yeah. Yoginaha, the yogis who are practicing bhakti, they can see Atma. Pashyanti Atmani avasthitam. They can see clearly. But yatantopi akhritatmano, those who are not advanced in bhakti, they cannot see. Nayanam pashyanti achetasaha. So So there's a meaning here. So there is one category of people who can understand the soul, and there's another category who cannot understand the soul. So it is natural because see, you see, no, so many people are in this world. You ask them what is soul, they cannot answer. But all of you can very clearly answer because you have understood, because you have pashyanti, you have jnana chakshusha, because now your knowledge is awakened. Because whenever somebody asks you, who are you? You immediately reply, oh, I'm not this, but I'm spirit soul. Right? Of course, Vyavaharika, we can say our name and other things, but spiritually speaking, we know what is our identity, isn't it? But before this, we did not know. Only after attending the Bhagavad Gita classes, we got to know that I'm the spirit soul. So those who are not well mature in spiritual wisdom, they cannot see the soul. Right? Even now also, we may say that, okay, we know theoretically, but we have not realized it. Isn't it? There may be some doubts. But over a period of time, when we continue chanting, when you continue reading Bhagavad Gita, take association, then surely we'll come to the stage of realization. So first step is hearing, second step is understanding, third step is realizing. So we'll realize this truth eventually, very soon. So that's the meaning of this 11th shloka. So this chapter, initial part, Krishna told about material world and spiritual world in the first 6 shlokas. The second part, Krishna told about the law of transmigration, how the soul is transmigrating from one body to another body with his mind and senses. And those who are mature in their devotion, they can see it. Those who are not, they cannot see it. Then somebody may ask the question, can even common man see it? Can even common man see Krishna? Yes, Krishna says, yes. If you want, you can see me, but you can see me through my nature, through dependency on me. Yes, this I already explained. So let's go to the 12th verse. So verse number 12, 13, 14, and 15. These 4 verses tell how we can see Krishna in the world and how we are dependent completely on Krishna. So kindly repeat. Yadadityagatam tejo
Yadadityagatam tejo
jagadbhase dekhilam
jagadbhasayate
yachandramasi yachagno
yachandramasi yachagno
tattejo vidhi mamakam.
tejo vidhi mamakam. The splendor of the sun, which dissipates the darkness of this whole world, comes from me. And the splendor of the moon and the splendor of fire are also from me.
See, Aditya Gatam Teja means the light of the sun. Jagat Bhase Tekilam, it illuminates everything. Like in this photo, you will see the sun is rising on the horizon and it is illuminating everywhere. Just when the sun rises, everything is bright. So that splendor of the sun is me, he says. Mamakam, Tat Tejo Vidhi Mamakam. So, Yat Chandramasi, even the splendor of the moon is also me. Yet Chagno, when you light fire, when the fire is blazing, that effulgence of the fire is also me. So in one sense, you will see that sun is the source of all energy in this planet. So it means that for energy we are depending fully on sun, and the sun's energy comes from Krishna. So in that way we are dependent. And moon's reflection, the moonlight also is a reflection of sun. Right? Even all the fire elements in this world are coming from sun only. All the heat is coming from sun only. So in that sense, sun is very, very important. So it is the so Prabhupada is writing in the purport here from Bhagavad Gita. With the sun, with the rise of the sun, the activities of human beings are set up. Right? When sun rises, we also rise. And when the sun sets, we also set, isn't it? So they set fire to prepare foodstuff. They set fire to start the factories, etc. So many things are done with the help of fire. Therefore, sunrise, fire, and moonlight are so pleasing to the living entities. Without their help, no living entity can live or survive. Right? So this is very important for all of us. So if we can understand that light and splendor of the sun, moon, and fire are emanating from the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, then one's Krishna consciousness will begin. Okay. So it's very important to be grateful to these three elements: the sun, moon, and the fire. Sun gives us energy, moon gives us taste. So we'll see in the next verse where Krishna is telling that he gives the taste, the moon gives the taste to all the vegetables. So next look only it comes. Gama vishya bhutani
कामाविश्य च भूतानि
dharayamyaham
धारयाम्यहमोजसा
pushnami chaushadhi sarva
नामी चौषधी सर्व
somo bhutva rasatmakaha.
सोमो भूत्वा रसात्मकः.
Yes.
I enter into each planet and by my energy.
Your voice is very low again.
Is it?
Yeah, now it is okay. Now it is okay.
Okay. I enter into each planet and my energy, they stay in orbit. I become the moon and thereby supply the juice of life to all
Vegetables.
What is the
Vegetables.
Okay, vegetables. Vegetables.
See, Gam Avishyacha Bhutani. Gam means earth. Gam. Earth is also called Gam. Cow is also called Go. Go or Gam. So Gam Avishyacha Bhutani Dharayami. I will enter into all the planets. See, sun is so huge. So Mercury very small. Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars. So Jupiter so huge, and Saturn. So the very very big planets are there, and they're all floating by Krishna's power, because Krishna has entered into them. And Gam Avishyacha Bhutani Dharayami. Aham Ojasa. By my strength, I am sustaining them in position. So then another thing he says is Pushnami Chaushadhi Sarva. I am nourishing all the Aushadhis. Aushadhis means plants, vegetables, fruits, all those things. Pushnami Chaushadhi Sarva. Somo Bhutva Rasatmaka. By Soma. I become the moon and thereby supply the juice of life to all the vegetables. So the moon is supplying taste to the vegetables. So even scientifically, so it can be researched that those vegetables which are grown without exposing to moonlight, especially they are grown in what is that, greenhouse and closed chambers, like in America and all. Sometimes the agriculture happens in closed chambers, greenhouse. So the vegetables there will not have any taste, nor the flowers grown in such way will have fragrance, right? So naturally grown flowers will have fragrance, but those who are chemically grown will not have fragrance. They'll be smelling horrible. They may look good, but there will be no fragrance in them. So that is the meaning of Soma Bhutva Rasatmaka Pushnami Chaushadhi Sarvaha. So Prabhupada gives very interesting purport here in this. I'll just read some section from that. So verse number 13. See here. See, if someone holds a handful of dust, there is no possibility of dust falling. But if one throws it in the air, it will fall down. Similarly, these planets, which are floating in air, are actually held in the fist of the universal form of the Supreme Lord. They are held so tightly, they will not fall. By His energy, it is held. By His strength and energy, all moving and non-moving things stay in their place. So there's a meaning. So without Him, everything would be scattered like dust in air and perish. So But due to moon's influence, the vegetables become delicious. Without the moonshine, vegetables can neither grow nor taste succulent. So one of the scientists also made an experiment and saw that actually the grasses grow in the night, not in the daytime. So in the night only they increase their length and they grow longer. So because of the moon rays. Human society is working, living comfortably and enjoying food due to the supply from the Supreme Lord. Otherwise, mankind could not survive. The word Rasatmak is significant. Everything becomes palatable by the agency of the Supreme Lord through the influence of the moon. So that's the meaning of this. So we are dependent on the Lord for everything. Okay, so let's go to the next verse. So in this verse, we learned that Krishna is giving us food and vegetables. So in the next verse, we will see that digestion is also done by Krishna only. So kindly repeat. Aham Vaishvanaro Bhutva
Aham Vaishvanaro Bhutva
Praninam Deham Ashritaha Pranapana Samayuktaha Pachamyannam Chaturvidham. Yeah, please read.
I am the fire of digestion in the bodies of all living entities, and I join with the air of life, outgoing and incoming, to digest the four kinds of foodstuff.
Yeah. So he is called Vaishwanara. Another name of Lord is Vaishwanara. And he stays in the body of living entities. Praninam Deham Ashritaha. It is staying in the stomach. And through the agency of prana and apana, prana means ingoing air, which is going inside your body through the nostrils. So, and apana means which is coming, sorry, prana means which is going inside, which is going downwards. And apana means, sorry, apana is which is going downwards, and prana is which is coming outwards. So, prana, air in the nostril coming out, that's prana. And apana is that which pushes down, excretion. So, you'll see here in this photograph, prana is reception, is in the near the nostrils, and apana is down. In the morning, when you get pressure to go to the bathroom, so that is because of apana vayu. So if apana vayu is not right, then there will be constipation. So doctors saturate the apana vayu, so then constipation is gone. Samana is digestion, vyana is circulation, udana is related to the mind. So in this way, so these 5 airs, they are moving around in the body and help in digestion. And Vaishwanara is the one who digests us. Means what? Without Lord's help, we cannot even digest our food also. So much we are dependent on the Lord. Right? So some people have this digestion problem, or they have got ulcers in the stomach. They cannot eat anything. They just have to eat some boiled vegetables. They cannot eat samosas, kachoris, gulab jamuns, because they cannot digest. The stomach will burn. So if Vaishnavar is happy, then we can have nice healthy stomach. And if stomach is healthy, then all our bodily functions will be healthy. If stomach has got upset, then we'll have so many diseases. Stomach is the root cause of all the diseases. So that's the 14th verse. Let's go to 15th verse. 15th verse is very important verse. Kindly repeat. Sarvasya chaham hridi sannivishto
Sarvasya chaham hridhi sannivishto
matta smritirgyanam apohanam cha
smritirjnanamohanam cha
vedeshta sarverahmeva vedyo
Vedeshcha sarver ahameva vedyo
Vedanta veda videva chaham.
Vedanta krit veda videva chaham.
Yeah. Please read.
I am seated in everyone's heart, and from me come remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. By all the Vedas, I am to be known. Indeed, I am not compiler of Vedanta,
I am the
and I
compiler.
am the knower. Indeed, I am the compiler of Vedanta and I am the knower of the Vedas.
So Krishna is telling the essence of um, all the Vedas here. Saying, I am situated in everybody's heart. Sarvasya cha aham hridi sannivishto. Where is staying? In Hridi, in the region of the heart. So you will see this yogi. He is doing tapasya, but Lord is staying in the heart of this yogi. Hridi sannivishto. And what he is doing? Mattaha smritir jnanam apohanam. Smriti means remembrance. Jnanam is knowledge. Apohanam means forgetfulness. So he only gives knowledge, remembrance, and forgetfulness. Means what? Sometimes Lord may reveal something instantly to us, some new idea. And sometimes he may make us forget what we know. So both is happening by the Lord only. Like when we die, when you go to the next body, we forget. Who is making it forget? Krishna is only making us forget. Right? So matta smritir jnanam apohanam cha. Vedeshcha sarve rahamiva vedyo. By studying all the Vedas, sarve Vedas, ahameva vedyo, I am to be understood. Means what? If reading all the Vedas, if somebody doesn't understand Krishna, then it's waste of time. So one should come to the understanding that Krishna is the Supreme Personality. So that's the purpose of the Vedas. Vedanta Krid Vedavid. I am the writer of the Vedas and I am the knower of the Vedas. Evacha Aham. Aham. I am the Aham Vedanta Krid, Aham Vedanta Vid. That's what it means. So it is written by Vedas, written by Vyasadeva. So Vyasadeva himself is Lord Krishna. He is Krishna's avatar. So in that sense, he is Vedanta Krid and he is the knower of the Vedas, Vedavid. So this is the conclusion of Bhagavad Gita actually, in one sense. Many people read Bhagavad Gita, but they don't understand Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So if somebody who is understanding Krishna to be the Supreme, he is correctly understanding Bhagavad Gita. Others are not understanding. Okay. So thus completes the 15th verse of this chapter. So this small chapter, that's why we are going every verse by verse. Generally in other chapters we have to skip some verses, but in this chapter we'll read all the verses. It's a very small chapter. So next three verses, shloka 16, 17 and 18, they are considered to be the essence of all the Vedas, essence of all the teachings. So why? We will tell you. Because Krishna tells about Jiva, he tells about conditioned Jiva, he tells about liberated Jiva, and he tells about Purushottama, Supreme Lord Krishna. So those points are mentioned in these three verses. That's why they are considered to be the essence of the Vedic teachings, these three shlokas. So let's read them. Dvaimau Purusho Loke Ksharaschakshara eva cha Ksharas sarvani bhutani
सर्वाणि भूतानि
Kutastokshara uchyate.
तस्थोऽक्षर उच्यते. There are two classes of beings, the fallible and the infallible. In the material world, every living entity is fallible, and in the spiritual world, every living entity is called infallible.
Yeah, so there are two kinds of jivas also. One kind of jiva is fallible, means it can come under the influence of Maya. Kshara sarvani bhutani, like people in this material world. Those who are staying in this material world, they have forgotten Krishna. So they are kshara. Kshara means fallible, they can fall. But there are infallible, those who do not fall. So they are pure devotees in the spiritual world. Like in this photo I have shown, there is one person behind the bars, but there is another liberated soul. So there is liberated soul and a conditioned soul. So liberated souls are called Nitya Mukta and conditioned souls are called as Nitya Baddha because they are staying in this material world since long time. So Nitya Baddha. So Nitya Baddha can also get elevated to the spiritual world by practice of sadhana. He can do that because he has misused his free will. He is bound. If he rightly uses his free will again, then he can be again reinstated in his service to Krishna. So there are two kinds of living entities, Kshara and Akshara. Okay. Now there is another Purusha who's beyond this Kshara and Akshara. So let's see about him. Uttamah Purushastvanyah
पुरुषस्त्वन्यः
Paramatmetyudahritah
परमात्मेत्युदारुतः
Yo Lokatrayamavishya
यो लोकत्रयमाविश्य
Bibhartyavyaya Ishvaraha.
बिभ्रत्यव्यय ईश्वरः. Besides these two, there is the greatest living personality, the Supreme Soul, the imperishable Lord Himself, who has entered the three worlds and is maintaining them.
Yeah, Uttama Purusha, Anyaha. There's another personality who is greater than these two, and who is he? Paramatma. So the photo of Paramatma is given here. He is standing with four arms, Shankha Chakra Gada Padma holding in his hand, and he's having Pitambar Dhoti, and he's having nice Vanamalya, means garland of flowers, Kiriti, having a nice Kirita, and then all these things. So it's Kaustava Mani, Srivatsa Chinna. She is Paramatma. He's very extremely powerful and beautiful. She is called Uttama Purusha. Paramatma iti Udaharta. His name is Paramatma. And Yo Lokatrayam Avishya. He expands himself and is present everywhere in this loka. Avyay Ishvara. He is the Lord of everything. So it's called Paramatma. So there is Kshara Jiva, there is Akshara Jiva, and there is Paramatma, who is Uttama Purusha. So these three definitions are given here. So next verse also describes Lord Vishnu only. Yasmat Ksharamati
Yasmat ksharamati-toham
Aksharaadapi Chottamaha
Sharadapi chottamaha
Atosmi Loke Vedecha
Atosmi loke vedescha
Pratita Purushottamaha.
Itaha purushottamaha. Because I am transcendental, beyond both the fallible and the infallible, and because I am the greatest, I am celebrated both in the world and in the Vedas as that supreme person.
So I am superior to both. Ksharam, Aksharam, Atita. Atita means I am transcendental to both. Right? So Jivas are below me, but I am superior to both of them. Ataha, therefore, I am called as Purushottama. And who calls me as Purushottama? The Vedas as well as the Puranas and the great sages in this world. They all call me as Purushottama. Like you will see here, this photograph, Lord Krishna is expanding himself into Lord Vishnu. So Lord Vishnu is called as the first Purusha expansion, one who creates this material world. So he's called Mahavishnu. And another Purusha is Garbhodakshi Vishnu. And the third Purusha is Kshirodakshay Vishnu. In this way, all three Purushas, they come from Krishna only. So that's why Krishna is called as Purushottama, supreme person. And after knowing this, what happens? Let's give him the next. Okay. See, he's called Purushottama, but what people try to do, they try to imitate. No? So I told the story of Paundraka once. So Paundraka, he tried to imitate Krishna. He told that he wore all yellow dhoti, put his peacock feather, and put two extra arms also, and he tried to imitate Krishna. And then he challenged Krishna. He wrote a letter to Krishna. Hey Krishna, don't think that you are supreme. I am supreme. I am God here. God has come, avatar has descended here. I am God. Just give up your position. Surrender to me. Like that, Paundraka wrote a letter to Krishna, and Krishna laughed, ha 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 ha, after reading that letter. And then Krishna came with his army and attacked Paundraka. And Paundraka was killed, his head severed from his body. And because Lord Krishna released his Sudarshan Chakra and cut off his head. And then his friend was there, Kashiraj, he also attacked. Then Krishna killed him also. So in this way, demons, demonic people, they try to compete with God, thinking that they are supreme. But actually, Krishna is the supreme person. Nobody can imitate Krishna's activities. Hmm? So here, Pondraka is dressing as Krishna, people are laughing behind. Yeah. So let's go to the 19th verse. Yo evam asammudho
यो मामेवमसम्मूढो
janati purushottamam
जानाति पुरुषोत्तमं
sasarvavid bhajati mam
स सर्वविद् भजति माम्
sarvabhavena bharata.
सर्वभावेन भारत. Whoever knows me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead without doubting is the knower of everything. He therefore engages himself in the full devotional service to me, O son of Bharat.
Yeah. Asammudo janati, one who knows without any doubt that Krishna is Purushottama. They will worship him with all their love and heart. You see here, Krishna is walking in Dwarka. There's a scene in Dwarka. And Krishna is walking. He's looking so attractive, so beautiful. And you will see all the devotees around him, all the yadus. They're worshipping. Somebody is putting chamar, somebody is putting some auspicious items. Flowers are sprinkled around on the floor, and their elephants are following behind. So they're all serving Krishna. Sarva bhavena, with all his heart, he will serve Krishna. He will not hesitate. Unhesitatingly, he will serve Krishna. So that's the meaning of Sarva bhavena Bharata. So the last verse of this chapter is like this. Okay, why we accept Lord as supreme? We already discussed this. Because he is Purushottama. He is the source of everything. He is the master of everything. He is the origin of everything. Janmadhyasya anvayaditarasashartheshu. We discussed in the beginning of this course only why Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. So one who knows this without any doubt, he will surrender to Krishna. Ite guhyatamam shastram
इति गुह्यतमं शास्त्रम्
idamuktam maya nagha
इदं मुक्तं मया नघ
etad buddhva buddhiman syat
एतद्बुद्ध्वा बुद्धिमान् स्यात्
kritakrityascha bharata.
कृतकृत्यश्च भारत.
Yeah. So this Guhyatamam
This is
Shastram
the
means what?
most
Whatever.
confidential.
Yeah. Yeah, you can read the translation. Then I'll explain.
This is the most confidential part of Vedic scriptures, O sinless one, and it is disclosed now by man will become wise and his endeavors will know perfection.
So is a Guhyatamam Shastra means whatever is explained in this 15th chapter, if somebody knows completely, Idi Guhyatam Shastram Yadamuktam Mayanaga Etad Buddhva Buddhiman Syat. Right? So one who understands this will become wise. Etad Buddhva Buddhiman Syat. He will become Buddhiman. And Krita Krityascha Bharata. And whatever he does, it will become perfect. His all endeavors will receive perfection. Means what? After understanding this 15th chapter about the material world and the spiritual world, about the transmigration of the soul, about our dependence on Krishna, and Krishna as Purushottama, by this, what will happen is he will become intelligent, and he will without any doubt serve Krishna. Like this Gopakumara, who is finally ascending to the spiritual world. Actually, this Gopakumara story comes in one Shastra called Brihad Bhagavatam, where he travels through all the planetary systems and finally goes back to Goloka, and Krishna welcomes him and embraces him tightly. And all the devotees of Vrindavan are so happy that our friend who was lost has come back. So we will become Buddhiman in the sense we'll want to go back to spiritual world. We don't want to stay back in this material world. We want to serve Krishna. So in this way, this chapter ends, and Krishna Basically, I'll just give the overview. In the beginning, I could not show you the overview. I'll show the overview of this chapter. Yeah, so there's a poster which I had made. So the first 5 shlokas tell about becoming detached from the material world. You have to cut off the material world through detachment. And 6 to 11 tell about transmigration of the soul. 12 to 15 tell about Krishna as our maintainer. And 16, 17, and 18, 3 shlokas. The shloka of knowledge is summary of Vedas and the Vedanta. Right? The 3 verses which give a summary of the whole Vedanta. And 19th and 20, knowing Krishna means knowing everything. So these are the topics. And the acronym is HOME. Home or hotel. This world is not a hotel. It's not meant for our enjoyment. Do you go to hotel and want to stay permanently there? No. Do you get a fridge and washing machine and set up the whole thing in the hotel room? No. The hotel is a step over point. We just stay 1 or 2 days and again come back. So this world is also not our home. Our home is spiritual world. So we have to leave this world and go to the spiritual world. On and on, over and over again. This means what? We are dying and taking birth again and again. So, and maintainer for body, mind, and soul. And essence of the 3 verses. So these are the acronyms, HOME for this chapter. Okay, tomorrow we'll be discussing this chapter, 16th chapter, Divine and the Demoniac, where Krishna tells about divine nature, demonic nature, and how to make the right choice to become divine and not to become demoniac. So that we will see tomorrow at 5 o'clock. Okay, so we'll meet again tomorrow. So thank you very much. Hemaraj is asking, Prabhuji, can I know what is the importance of Dhanurmas and this chapter called Purushottam Yoga? Purushottam Yoga is important. Actually, all chapters in Gita are important. And this Purushottama Yoga is specifically about Lord Krishna. It is clearly describing Krishna as supreme. In that sense, it is important. But all the chapters in Gita are important. And 15th chapter, it also tells about transmigration. So whenever somebody dies, they recite this chapter also, 15th chapter. So, and Dhanurmas, it generally in South Indian temples, they celebrate this Dhanurmas a lot, which is generally coming in December month. And especially in Sri Vaishnava temples like Tirupati, or you can go to Sri Rangam, any South Indian Sri Vaishnava temples, they celebrate very grand way. And they recite the shlokas of Namalvar and other great saints. And they celebrate this month very grand way. So generally in our Gaudiya Vaishnava Parampara, we don't celebrate much about Dhanurmas. But generally Sri Vaishnava temples, they do a lot of celebration about Dhanurmas. For us, mainly we worship Kartik month. That is very dear to Krishna. Vaishali, does it give the Gopakumar story similarity to living in it in Baddha Jiva Puja? Which gives? You're telling about Brihad Bhagavatam? Yeah. Brihad Bhagavatam tells the story of Gopakumar. Yeah, how Jiva, when Gopakumar had come to this earth and finally goes searching Krishna to the spiritual world, and finally he is satisfied only after reaching Goloka Vrindavan. He is not satisfied anywhere. Only after reaching Goloka Vrindavan he becomes fully satisfied. That story is given in Brihad Bhagavatam.
I just wanted to know that gives the similarity to the living entity, that living entity is also not satisfied to any of the places, but when it will reach out to the Golok Vrindavan, it will be satisfied. Whether it is a similar kind of a
Yes. So when Jiva reaches the spiritual world, only then he will be satisfied. That's correct. Omkar is raising a hand.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes.
Prabhuji, in Bhagavad Gita, many times it is repeated that the person, we should understand Krishna or surrender Krishna. I just want to know what is actually meant to be understanding Krishna or surrendering to Krishna.
So there are 6 symptoms of surrender. So it will come in the 18th chapter. I'll show it here. So if you read 18.66, there Krishna talks about surrender at the end. Sarvadhana Pratyaja Mamekam Sharanam Vraja. Surrender to me. And what is surrender? Surrender, Prabhupada explains here. The process of surrender to Krishna is described in Hari Bhakti Vilas. Anukulasya sankalpa pratikulasya varjanam rakshishyati vishwaso gopatratya varanam tata atmanikshepa karpanye shadvidha sharanagatihi. So anukulasya sankalpa, accepting things which are favorable. Right? Like chanting Hare Krishna, getting up in the morning, taking prasad, they are favorable, so we accept it. Pratikulasya varjanam, like watching movies or wasting on time in video game. So they are pratikula. They're not good for spiritual life. So what we do, we reject them, right? Or eating non-veg or eating other things. That's rejected. That means surrender. If somebody is able to follow this, he is surrendered. Rakshishyati iti is vishvaso. Krishna will surely protect me. Like Draupadi had faith that Krishna will protect. So that is also symptom of surrender. Gopatratve varanam tatha. And Krishna is my maintainer, having faith that Krishna will maintain me. Atmanikshepa karpanye, surrendering oneself fully, and karpanya means humility. Shadvidha sharanagatihi, so these are the symptoms of surrender. So Acharyas have explained this in detail. So how do you know you are surrendered? By checking whether you are following these 6 things which are mentioned here. Right? Like for example, chanting is also a symptom of surrender. Like when Krishna says chant, so we are chanting. So whatever God is telling we do it, then we are surrendered. So it's very simple to understand. Okay. So Omkar says thank you. Okay then. So I'll send you the quiz for this. It's already ready. We'll send the quiz, and we'll also send. We are coming to the end of this course soon. Just 3 more chapters: 16th, 17th, and 18th. So in 2 weeks we'll finish this. Before Gita Jayanti. So all of you kindly catch up with their quizzes, which you might have missed. Very simple quizzes there. I even given shloka numbers also where you find the answers. You just have to read those purports and attempt the quiz. And also try to recite 1 shloka from each of the chapters. So total 18 shlokas. So what I'm planning is after all of you try to memorize those shlokas, at least 1 shloka from each chapter, you can record in the audio and you can share it with us. So then that will complete. So basically 2 things. One is attempting all the quizzes and then shloka recitation. So that is the main criteria. How to, at the end of this course, we should be able to do this much. Attempt all the quizzes and then at least know 18 shlokas from Bhagavad Gita. Okay. So thank you very much. So we'll meet again tomorrow. Okay. Same 5 o'clock. I think today, because it was for some of them it is working date, so not everybody could join. We'll send them the audio recordings, and maybe tomorrow we'll see everybody together. Okay. Thank you so much. We'll meet tomorrow. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.